okay, maybe, okay, I'll just fight for like a few minutes and we'll make you free. And they're like, nope. And then he's like, all right, fine, you're just free now. And they're like, okay, we'll fight a little bit now.
Right.
That kind of thing. So we have these sort of cycles of, I mean, every country has its own disease almost. It's almost like every country is born with a certain defect that's a part of it. And the defect of America is just this rampant hypocrisy of this brilliant dream that's always undercut by the reality of greed. I mean, at the end of the day, as somebody who's paid too much attention to Elon Musk, he wants more money. He wants China to help him make more money. He wants the government to pay money for his rockets. He wants tax cuts for his Teslas and his cyber beast, whatever they call those trucks. And I worked for the Social Security Administration as a lawyer years ago.
Okay.
My last law job, that was so depressing, I had to just stop practicing law. But one thing that I noticed in there was there was a tension between left-leaning people who were like, it's still good for the world. But they're also a little incompetent in a strange way. Might be administrators. And then the right-leaning people were like, see, this place is terrible. And we're glad it doesn't function that well. We want it to not function. And I feel like the right has gone from that idea of, well, if the government doesn't function, that's totally fine. So let's just tear it all
down. Yeah.
Let's kill the DEI programs. Let's attack the federal agents who are investigating the wrongdoers. Let's take out the inspectors generals, the ones who look and see if anything's wrong. Let's get rid of people involved in accounting, that kind of stuff. And I can't imagine where it goes except to places we've already seen. I mean, we've already seen this played out in every country in the Western Hemisphere at some point, whether it be Russia or, Germany, France.
Right.
It's just the same playbook.
Well, see, this is really interesting because I think this is one of the things that Americans don't really think about. But there are all these other examples of empires that collapsed, and they're still nations.
Yes.
Right? And that we may be going the way of the former European empires.
Oh, my goodness. That's why I go to Russia. You ever heard something called hyper-normalization? I mean, when I learned about that, I was sad for like a month afterwards. I'm relatively new to the concept, but I guess it's the idea that leadership can make the abnormal seem normal.
Yes.
So today the sky is blue. Okay. Tomorrow the sky is red. Yes.
And we'll just keep saying yes.
Just keep saying yes to whatever they say.
I mean, I think that we may be there already. I mean, I don't know, because what do we mean? I feel like the press is a perfect example. They will say things.
Oh, my goodness.
At present, as though the current president isn't just lying all day long. Or we're constantly inundated with this conversation as though there's just not bold-faced lies happening all over the place.
Right.
Absolute lawlessness.
I'm maddest at the press right now, actually.
Yeah.
When I think about being in school, considering going to journalism school, and that great duty of finding the story and telling the truth. But I know what happened because I have conservative friends. And this is what they do to me. They would say, oh, I don't know, Rachel Maddow said this, or whoever said this thing. And they would go, Maurice, test it. We want to show you a clip from somebody on our side. And so I would test what our person was saying about their people. And I would play the actual clip and I go, oh, they'd just change the context of it. One thing that really messed with my head a lot was there's a lawyer I know who's a very right-leaning guy. He's okay. He's fine, whatever. But he kept saying to me about 2 years, he was like, so Maurice, when are y'all going to make Biden step down? And I'm like, oh, he's just trolling me. He's just messing with me. He's like, yeah, that old guy, he should have been retired. And then I began listening to things. And I heard Ezra Klein said, I think last February, he's like, hey, maybe he should step down. I'm like, okay, now somebody in left is saying that. So I went back and looked through moments of conservative media versus left media. And the left media is saying, he's totally fine. We have good authority. We've done our research. People inside the White House are telling us he's fine. And then the right media is saying, they're lying to y'all. What do you do with it when the press is not doing their job for anybody?
Right. Well, I think for me, part of the problem with that is that the spectrum is so narrow from left to right in mainstream media. There's not, as someone who's on the far left politically, the consensus around avoiding many truths, distorting truth, and seeing things. People treat political parties like they're sports teams.
Absolutely. Red and blue.
And so it's not just not being critical, because to me, I think even the sort of conception of an our side you should still be critical, right? If you have some principles, you want the idea of a representative democracy is that they represent the interests, at least some, a consensus, even if it's a tense consensus on a given. And I just don't see that. And particularly media, it seems more often than not, and certainly this is not universal, but it is as though they're running the party line as opposed to acting with any kind of critical or investigative eye.
And it's so hard to find that.
It's so hard to find it.
I mean, I remember the first time I found Amy Goodman's, what is it? Is it America Now?
Democracy Now. Yeah.
Like the first time I found that, like 15 years ago, I'm like, where's this been my whole life?
Right.
Just somebody talking about something, not just the standard talking lines. Because if you would watch a CNN or MSNBC, you could tell like the editors were telling their reporters the focus on certain basic stories. But I do want to ask you, because I know we've done all this political stuff.
Yeah.
What do you love? Like, what makes you actually smile?
Oh, so much. I mean, music, art, literature, reading feels like a balm now. Community, being with people I care about. Like the thing that I'm thinking about most now is how to create more time where I get to be with people with whom I share core values and interest in being there. It's funny, like I have moments in life that I'm now constantly returning to, like this one moment at a breakfast in Jackson, this other moment at a beach in Negril, Jamaica, like where I was with people who I care about. And we're not thinking about buying anything. We're not thinking about we're not thinking about working. We're just being with each other. And it reminds me of the best moments of childhood and being around the kitchen table at my grandmother's house. Like that space feels so precious. And it feels like what we need. And I'm grappling with this thing because I feel like on the one hand, there's all of this intense pressure, anxiety, urgency. On the other, we have to live. And a lot of this stuff, to whatever extent things are being destroyed now, I don't know that you and I are going to live long enough to see them repaired.
That's right.
So what do we do?
I mean, you're like 30 years old. So, how many decades you got?
Add 22 years to that. But you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I was in Senegal last year. I got to the Black Rock, Senegal.
Oh, wow.
And it was a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
I know Ta-Nehisi was also Senegal at some point too. And what really struck me, I learned so many things, but what struck me the most was how they were outside of this bubble, whatever this bubble is. What I mean is like, this is a capitalistic, imperial, colonial, patriarchal, whatever you want to call it, thing that we're always inside of. And we're always like trying to push up against it, make a space for ourselves. And in America, I mean, how can you do it when you've been devalued from birth? If Joe Blow white guy is $1, and then the brother is 80 cents, and the sister is 72 cents, that kind of thing. But in Senegal, I didn't believe in that stuff. We traveled the entire country. We drove up to like the border with Mauritania, went out to the beaches. And time again, what I noticed was the presence, like just being in the moment, constantly. There was a family, this young brother, probably in his late 30s, owned a restaurant right on the beach. And he told us that there's like a very small, like sort of white colonial neighborhood. They kept asking him to buy the property. I think his dad opened that restaurant like in the 50s, something like that. Wow. He's like, I'm like, well, how much do they offer you? Bro? He's like, like $10 million. Somebody. He's like, we're never going to sell this.
Yes.
We're never going to sell this. And the reason why, and I saw it with my own eyes, I remember going out on a little boat, we were riding around, we saw whales. We saw like whales like breaching and spewing the water.
Wow.
So that's on that side. I turn around and there's a bunch of little kids, these little boys on these little like rubber rafts, little tams on their heads, floating by. And then I look beyond them to the coastline, and it's like 1,000 young kids, like yelling like this. And then like this grown men behind them in like a big rowboat going, "Go boys, go." Oh. And I'm like, what is this? He's like, oh, that's the religious summer camp. And I thought about, I've never seen that in America ever, not even once in my whole life.
Right.
Not in California, not in the Carolinas or Virginia. And the beauty of that, it is asking, so what do y'all like do here? And like, we just live our lives.
Right.
We're not like trying to open up these 500 companies, or like be the biggest rapper. we're just being with our families. And it's such a wholesome thing. And the last thing I kept asking them about was these diseases of drugs and guns. And they would just laugh at me. They would go, drugs and guns? They try and bring it in. You see it sometimes. But if you were to rob somebody for something with a gun, your great-grandma would know about it in 20 minutes.
Right.
Or if you took drugs, the same thing. You would be so ashamed by having that person you love know about that whatever pleasure you got from that would disappear.
Right.
You go from positive to negative, like that. And that communal feel was so important to them. And of course, here we've lost that. We was stolen that first, and we fight to maintain it, but it's so hard to keep that going.
Well, they say, I mean, in so much public health research that the greatest wounds come when you are in very deeply unequal environments. The inequality is more damaging than not having much.
That's right.
Right. That it's like that you feel the inequality. So it's a very tiny example, but being someplace where I could be in the water all day and have I didn't have much stuff with me. I didn't look at my phone. I wasn't interested in shopping. I'm always looking there were all these distraction behaviors that just floated away because I was just centered.
Wow.
And I think that's what we live like our consumer oriented society makes us, we move through distraction and distraction and stimulation and the blue light from the phone and the taking of the pills and the drinking to relax because we're stressed and that cycle. And I guess for me, one of the things I'm trying to think about now is in the long list of what we are tasked with in this moment, some of it has to do with self-care. And I don't mean in that like go to a spa day type way, but I mean in terms of what you're talking about. Because I think being in community is a form of self-care, right?
Well, you have children.
I do, yes.
What do you want from them in the future? Like you were saying, we probably won't see whatever is being broken apart here. Do you want them out there on the line? Do you want them like, this will live our lives? If they're creative and artistic, what do you want them to do with themselves?
I want them to borrow language from Baldwin, go the way their blood beats. I want them to love and be loved and have a sense of purpose and be able to take care of themselves, right?